Ever thought about moving to Mars? No, I'm not talking about the chocolate bar. I'm talking about the fourth planet from the Sun, the red planet, our celestial neighbor. Why, you might ask? Well, there are a few good reasons. Firstly, we're running out of room here on Earth. Overpopulation is a real concern, and Mars offers a whole new world of opportunities, quite literally. Secondly, there's the tantalizing possibility of extraterrestrial life. Who knows what or who we might find on Mars? Imagine being the first to discover a new form of life. It's the stuff of dreams for any space enthusiast. And lastly, there's the human spirit of exploration. We've scaled the highest mountains, plumbed the deepest oceans, and now space is the final frontier. It's the next step in our evolutionary journey. So now that we've established why you might want to pack your bags for Mars, let's move on to how this could actually happen. Now, getting to Mars isn't as simple as booking a one-way flight on Expedia. It's not about packing your favorite beach shorts, slapping on some sunscreen and heading off to the airport. No. This journey requires a bit more prep and a lot more rocket fuel. In our current reality, we rely on powerful rockets to break free from Earth's gravity. The primary workhorse in this field is the Falcon Heavy, a marvel of modern engineering developed by SpaceX. This beast of a rocket can carry up to 64 metric tons into space. That's equivalent to about 5 double-decker buses. Quite impressive, isn't it? But let's talk about distances. Mars isn't exactly a stone's throw away. In fact, it's about 225 million kilometers away at its closest. That's about 560,000 times the distance from London to Paris. Just to put it into perspective, if you were to drive at a steady 100 kilometers per hour without stopping for food, sleep, or loo breaks, it would take you over 250 years to get there. Yes, you heard that right. And the journey isn't a quick one either. With our current technology, a one-way trip to Mars takes about 7 to 9 months. That's a lot of in-flight meals and plenty of time to binge-watch your favorite series, multiple times. And don't even get me started on the legroom, or lack thereof. Now, space travel isn't all fun and games. There are serious challenges to consider. The journey to Mars is fraught with risks, from dangerous levels of radiation to the effects of long-term weightlessness on the human body. And then there's the small matter of landing on a planet with an atmosphere only 1% as dense as Earth's. Not exactly a soft landing, is it? So, once you've survived the long journey, you'd finally land on Mars. But then what? Well, that's a story for another scene. Welcome to Mars, your new home. But wait, where's the welcome mat? Well, setting up a base on Mars isn't quite as simple as rolling out a welcome mat and flicking on the kettle for a cuppa. You see, Mars doesn't come ready-made with the comforts of Earth. No fluffy clouds, no oxygen-rich air, no corner shops where you can nip out for a pint of milk. So we're going to need to get a bit crafty if we're going to turn this red desert into a cozy abode. First things first, we need shelter. Now, we're not talking about a quaint cottage with a picket fence, but rather a base that can withstand Mars's less than hospitable climate. This means sturdy materials and clever design to protect us from radiation, extreme temperatures, and dust storms that would make your vacuum cleaner blush. Once we've got our Martian home, it's time to make sure we can breathe. Mars' atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, which is great if you're a plant, but not so much if you're a human. So, we're going to need to generate oxygen. Scientists are already working on this, with ideas ranging from splitting water molecules to cultivating oxygen-producing algae. It's all rather clever, really. Now, unless we fancy a diet of vacuum-packed meals and vitamin tablets, we're going to need to grow our own food. This means creating indoor farms where we can grow everything from tomatoes to potatoes, using hydroponics and LED lights. It's a bit like having a greenhouse, only without the pesky slugs. And let's not forget water. Mars is pretty dry, but we can extract water from the ice at the poles, and possibly from beneath the surface. In a nutshell, colonizing Mars is a bit like setting up camp in the Sahara Desert, only colder and with less oxygen. But with a dash of human ingenuity and a sprinkle of technology, we can create a sustainable environment where we can live, work, and play. So we've got a base, we've got food, and we've got oxygen. But what about a community? Living on Mars isn't just about survival. It's also about creating a new society. It's not just about surviving the harsh Martian winters or finding enough water to drink. It's about building a community, a civilization, a new world that stretches beyond what we ever thought possible. That's where the concept of a Martian society comes in. Imagine, if you will, a society built from scratch. A society that has to take into account the unique challenges and opportunities of living on a whole new planet. A society that in many ways will be a mirror reflection of our own, but in other ways will be completely, wonderfully alien. So, what would this Martian society look like? Well, for starters, we're going to need a variety of roles and jobs. Just like on Earth, we'll need scientists and engineers, of course. But we'll also need teachers to educate the next generation of Martians, doctors to keep everyone healthy, and artists to keep our spirits high. We'll need farmers to grow our food and architects to design our habitats. We'll even need lawyers and politicians to help us navigate the tricky waters of Martian law and governance. And speaking of law and governance, we're going to need a whole new set of rules for our Martian society. What are the property rights on Mars? How do we handle disputes or criminal activity? What about voting rights and representation? These are all questions that will need to be answered as we build our new society. But let's not forget about the fun stuff too. Imagine Martian sports, Martian music, even Martian fashion. The possibilities are endless and incredibly exciting. So we've got a base, food, oxygen, and a thriving Martian society. But what would life actually be like on Mars? Well, that's a question for another day. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be one heck of an adventure. Imagine waking up to a red sky, having breakfast with dehydrated food, and going to work in a spacesuit. Sounds like an episode straight out of a sci-fi series, doesn't it? But that's just a typical day in the life on Mars. So let's break down this Martian routine. Upon rising, you'll find yourself in a habitat that's part home, part science lab. You'll start your day with a cup of coffee, but forget about your fresh brew. This would be instant coffee, rehydrated with water brought from Earth or recycled on Mars itself. Your breakfast might consist of dehydrated fruits and maybe a protein bar, all specially designed to give you the energy you need to face the day. But don't expect to step outside and feel the morning breeze. Mars' atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, and the air pressure is less than 1% of Earth's. So you'd need to suit up astronaut style before heading out. Mars also has about 1/3 the gravity of Earth. This means you could jump 3 times higher on Mars than you could on Earth. But remember, you'll be wearing a hefty spacesuit, so your Martian basketball career might have to wait. The Martian landscape is quite the sight. Imagine vast red plains, towering cliffs, and the largest volcano in the solar system, Olympus Mons. But don't get too lost in the Martian beauty. Mars is a desert world, with temperatures that can drop to -80 degrees Celsius at night. Your workday might involve maintaining your habitat, researching Martian geology, or even tending to plants in the greenhouse. Yes, you heard it right. Plants on Mars. Scientists believe that with the right technology we can grow food on the red planet. After a long day, you'd head back to your habitat, rehydrate some dinner, and maybe relax with some Martian-made entertainment. Who knows, maybe you'll unwind by watching the Earth set across the Martian horizon. So there you have it, a day in the life on Mars. But remember, Mars isn't for everyone. It's not just a new frontier, it's a whole new way of life. Let's be real. Living on Mars isn't going to be a walk in the park. It's more akin to a stroll through the Sahara with a spacesuit on. The red planet is a harsh mistress, with a thin atmosphere that's not exactly welcoming to us oxygen-breathing folks. The temperatures, oh my, they can plummet to a chilly -80 degrees Celsius at night. Brrr, makes you appreciate your cozy bed back home, doesn't it? There's also the small matter of solar radiation. Without a handy magnetic field like Earth's, Mars offers little protection. Picture going to the beach, but instead of getting a tan, you get a dose of radiation. And let's not forget the dust storms that can engulf the entire planet for months. Think of it as the universe's version of a spring clean, just a tad more extreme. So are you still thinking about moving to Mars? Don't forget to pack your sense of adventure.